I got a tattoo for a university assignment. I did an arts degree at university, studying communication and media studies. In a third-year subject called autoethnographic research, the point of the class is to understand an approach to research and writing that seeks to describe and systematically analyze personal experience in order to understand cultural experience. There were 3 assignments in this class. The first being to research an element of Eastern culture and make a report. The second, to get involved in Eastern culture in some way and present it to the class in a presentation. The third was to find something in Eastern culture and see how it translates to Western culture and make a report. The professor had no problem if you chose the same topic for each assignment and just build upon your research through each project. This professor also wasn't strict on when the written projects were handed in. He would give the due date and say that the closer to the due date and time, without going over, you handed it in, the more feedback he would give you. After that, you would have the leniency until the due date of the following assignment to hand it in without getting a failed grade or losing marks. But he won't give you any feedback, just the mark. I liked this position. It gave the freedom to put the information and effort on the student, and if the student cared about feedback, they would need to be diligent and get the assignment done on time. For the first assignment, I looked at Tibetan monks and the ritualistic creation of the sand mandala. A sand mandala being a complex art form of geometric designs made over days, weeks, with sand, to then get destroyed. A visual representation on impermanence and non-attachment. The third assignment, about how Eastern culture translated to Western culture, I looked at the mandala and how it had been translated through cultures. The mandala has a place in tattooing as an overarching term about concentric, geometric pattern tattoos. Tattooing itself plays an important role in many cultures about heritage, rebellion, social status, rites of passage, and community. The mandala design also features in architecture, building layouts and decorations. I had already figured out the through line of my assignments and how I wanted them all to connect. I always wanted to get a tattoo as my parents are covered in them. This class provided a greater means to get a tattoo with purpose and intent. As the classes go on through the semester, we have discussions about what people are going to do for their assignments, so the professor can give quick feedback and direction on where the students can head. I mentioned that for my second assignment, a personal experience, I'm interested in getting a tattoo. This being a first for the professor, he mentioned, "That's an interesting idea, but the university wouldn't like it if I signed off on a student mutilating themselves." Which is a fair point, but it's not a no. I do my research about tattooists in the area and learn basic necessities to look out for. Each tattooist has a specialty type of tattoo that they create. Traditional, realism, fine line, black work. There's many more. Through looking up shops and tattooist work, I mentioned to my parents that I'm looking at getting a tattoo, a mandala, and looking for a tattooist. My parents say that they have a personal friend who is a tattooist that they've been seeing, and they'll see if I can get in. The tattooist is cool to do my mandala tattoo, and so we organise a time to get it done. The day arrives, I'm excited. Dad comes with me and we drive. Here I am thinking we're going to a tattoo parlour, but instead we head through some back roads and get to a house. The house is my cousin's and the tattooist is a man that's living in their granny flat out back. This is going to be a backyard tattoo. Not what I expected, but I'm down for it. It turns out to be the tattooist's 40th birthday and Dad brought some grog to drink to celebrate. So here I am in a backyard, getting a tattoo for university by a drunk tattooist on his birthday. While it's not ideal situation for my first tattoo, it's a great story and definitely a memorable moment to experience. I made a PowerPoint presentation for the class presentation and showcased my research and my tattoo. The tattoo is not perfect. It was easy to get, cheap, minimal pain, with its placement on my thigh. It was interesting to present and fellow students seemed interested knowing a classmate got a tattoo for a university project. The professor was intrigued and said that this was the first tattoo he'd ever have to grade. Come the following semester, I had another class with the same professor, and he mentions that another person was thinking about getting a tattoo for an assignment. A QR code on the back of their neck to connect to their project. Not saying I started a trend, but I opened doors on the variety of ideas someone can do for their assignments. I enjoyed my time at university doing an arts degree. It gave me a lot of freedom to create when it came to assignments, as the criteria description was fairly broad. Create what you want to create, and justify the creation with the criteria provided. I know there are people who don't work well with that variety. They would prefer a specific path and goal. But not me. More tattoos for university projects any day of the week.